Long before most stars were born, the universe made many rules. Some were about war, some about trade, some about survival. But there was one rule older than all others. A rule so serious that every intelligent race followed it without question. Do not awaken the humans. No one remembered who first wrote the rule. It was older than empires, older than galaxies. It appeared in ancient records, carved into ruined stations, and whispered in forgotten languages. Every spacefaring civilization learned it early. Humans were not gods. They were not monsters. But they were something far more dangerous. They were survivors. The humans were last seen thousands of cycles ago. At that time, the galaxy was young and violent. Wars burned across star systems. Entire species vanished in weeks. And then the humans arrived. They did not conquer at first. They tried to talk. They tried to warn others. But when pushed, they fought back with a force the galaxy had never seen. After the wars ended, the humans disappeared. No great farewell. No final message. They simply went silent. Scans showed human worlds still existed. Cities intact. Ships hidden. But no movement, no signals, no life signs. The galaxy slowly realized the truth. The humans were not gone. They were sleeping. And so the rule was born. Let them sleep. For thousands of years, the rule worked. Civilizations rose and fell. Technology advanced. Borders changed. But one thing stayed the same. No one touched human space. Until now. On the edge of known space, a small and ambitious alien civilization called the Virex made a discovery. They were young compared to others. Hungry for power and knowledge. They believed old warnings were just myths. While scanning a dead star system, their sensors detected something impossible. A weak signal buried under layers of cosmic dust. It was old but active. The signal came from a human world. The Virex scientists were excited. They believed they had found abandoned technology. Something they could study, control, and claim as their own. Their leaders ignored the ancient texts. Ignored the panic messages from older races. Ignored the quiet fear spreading through the galactic networks. They said the same words every foolish empire had said before. Humans are extinct. The signal was decoded. It was not a message. It was a beacon. A sleeping system waiting for a response. When the Virex activated it, the galaxy changed. Far away, ancient sensors woke from deep rest. Machines that had not moved in centuries powered on. Old defense grids whispered warnings into the void. On forgotten human worlds, lights flickered for the first time in ages. Deep beneath silent cities, massive reactors began to hum. And somewhere beyond known space, a human warship received a signal it was never meant to hear again. Inside the ship, systems activated one by one. Cold lights filled the command deck. A calm artificial voice broke the silence. Sleep cycle interrupted. For the first time in thousands of years, humanity was waking up. And the universe remembered why the rule existed. The moment the human beacon was activated, the galaxy felt it. Not as an explosion. Not as a sound. But as a deep silence that spread across space. Old civilizations stopped their ships. Ancient stations powered down. Veteran leaders felt a fear they had not felt in centuries. They knew what the signal meant. The humans were waking up. On the Virex homeworld, celebration filled the capital towers. Scientists cheered. Generals smiled. Leaders spoke of a new golden age. They believed they had discovered forgotten machines. They believed the humans were gone forever. To them, the ancient rule was nothing more than a story used to scare young races. "We found empty worlds," the Virex Supreme Commander said. "No fleets, no cities with life, no resistance. This is our chance." But beyond Virex space, panic spread fast. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Species that hated each other sat side by side. Old enemies forgot their wars. Because one threat mattered more than all others. A tall, ancient being from the Kethra spoke first. Its voice was slow and heavy. "You have broken the first law," it said. "The law that kept us alive." The Virex ambassador laughed. "You fear ghosts," he replied. "We scanned those worlds, they are dead." The Kethra's eyes dimmed. "Human worlds are never dead," it answered. "They are waiting." As the council argued, something strange began to happen. Long-range sensors across the galaxy started to fail. Communication delays increased. Navigation systems showed errors where none existed before. Then came the reports. An outpost near human space went dark. No explosion. No distress signal. Just silence. Moments later, another station vanished from the network. Then another. The Virex commanders began to feel uneasy. They increased scans. They deployed drones toward the human system. None of the drones returned. Instead, a single data pulse came back. Short, clean, and powerful. Too advanced for any known race to create. The message was translated automatically. Only 3 words appeared on the screen. Signal received. Fear spread through the Virex command room. But pride kept them moving forward. "It's an automated system," one officer said. "Ancient machines waking up." But deep in forgotten archives, older races knew the truth. Human systems were never fully automated. They always came with watchers. Far beyond the Virex borders, a massive shape moved in the dark. A human warship, older than most civilizations. Silent, black, and scarred by ancient battles. Its weapons stayed cold. Its shields remained down. But its mind was awake. Inside the ship, human commanders watched the data flow in. Calm faces. Focused eyes. They did not shout. They did not panic. One officer spoke quietly. "The galaxy changed while we slept." Another replied, "Yes." And they forgot the rule? The ship altered its course. Not toward Earth. Not toward old colonies. But directly toward the source of the signal. On the Virex world, alarms finally began to sound. Sensors detected a massive object exiting deep space. Moving without warp trails. Ignoring known physics. For the first time, the Virex leaders fell silent. Because the object was not a machine. It was not a station. It was a warship. Human. And it was heading straight for them. The human warship moved through space without sound. It did not announce itself. It did not send threats. It simply existed. For many alien races, that silence was worse than any warning. Across the galaxy, ancient sensors confirmed what many feared. Human technology was active again. Not broken. Not weak. But fully awake. On the Virex homeworld, panic replaced pride. Command rooms filled with flashing lights and warning symbols. Generals shouted orders. Scientists demanded more scans. But the scans made no sense. The human ship showed no clear energy spikes. No visible weapons charging. Yet its mass alone bent local gravity. It moved like a mountain drifting through the stars. "This is impossible," a Virex officer whispered. "No ship can move like that." But the older races watching from afar knew the truth. Human ships did not follow modern rules. Modern rules were built after humans disappeared. As the warship crossed into Virex-controlled space, something else happened. Every Virex satellite shut down at once. Defense platforms went dark. Weapon systems refused to respond. The humans were not attacking. They were taking control. A single transmission spread across all open channels. It did not come from the Virex. It did not come from the Council. It came from the human ship. The voice was calm, steady, and emotionless. "This system is under human observation." No threat. No anger. Just a statement of fact. The Galactic Council fell silent. Millions of beings listened without breathing. Because the voice was not artificial. It was human. On the bridge of the warship, human officers stood at their stations. They wore no armor. No symbols of rank. Only simple uniforms marked by age and wear. A human commander looked at the data display. His face showed no fear. Only focus. "Confirm source of the wake signal," he said. "It originated from the Virex homeworld," an officer replied. The commander closed his eyes for a moment. Then opened them. "So they chose to ignore the law," he said quietly. Another officer asked. "Do we respond?" The commander paused. "Yes," he said. "But not with weapons." On the Virex world, leaders watched the human ship appear in orbit. It blocked out stars. Its surface covered in scars from wars no one remembered. A message arrived directly into their command chamber. Unfiltered. Unavoidable. "You activated a human beacon," the voice said. That beacon was a warning, not an invitation. Fear spread through every level of Virex society. Citizens looked to the sky. Religions collapsed in a single hour. Beliefs rewritten by a single ship. The Virex Supreme Commander tried to speak. Tried to threaten. Tried to bargain. But the human voice interrupted him. "We did not come for conquest," it said. "We did not come for revenge." A pause followed. Heavy and deliberate. "We came to ask one question." Every channel focused on the words that followed. Why were we awakened? Far across the galaxy, ancient races lowered their heads. Because they knew what came next. Humans did not ask questions unless they already knew the answer. And when humanity asked why, it meant judgment was coming. The human commander stood silently as the galaxy waited for his next words. He did not rush. Humans never rushed important decisions. Instead, he looked at records pulled from deep memory. Wars older than most alien species. Battles that shaped the universe into what it was today. Long ago, before the great councils, before galactic laws, the universe was chaos. Every race fought for space. For resources. For survival. Humans were young then. Curious, emotional, and hopeful. They believed cooperation was possible. At first, humans tried peace. They sent diplomats. Shared technology. Helped weaker species survive harsh worlds. But peace did not last. Some races feared humans. Others envied them. Many tried to control them. When humans were attacked, they defended themselves. When their colonies burned, they responded. And when their families were threatened, humans fought back without restraint. The galaxy learned a hard lesson. Humans did not enjoy war. But once pushed too far, they were unstoppable. Entire fleets were destroyed. Wars ended not because humans won, but because no one could afford to fight them anymore. Victory came with a cost. Humans lost worlds, lost people, lost faith in the galaxy. When the final war ended, humanity faced a choice. Rule the galaxy through fear, or walk away. They chose neither. Human leaders decided to sleep. Not as surrender, but as restraint. They sealed their worlds, buried their fleets, and left behind one rule for the universe. Do not awaken the humans. It was not a threat. It was mercy. The commander opened his eyes and looked at the Virex world on the display. You were not supposed to meet us like this, he said calmly. On the Virex homeworld, leaders listened in fear. Their weapons still useless. Their fleets frozen in space. We slept because we were tired of killing, the human continued. We slept because the galaxy needed time to grow. The Galactic Council received the message as well. Older races felt shame. Younger races felt terror. We trusted you with peace, the commander said. And you broke that trust. On the human ship, officers waited. They knew this moment mattered. The Virex Supreme Commander finally spoke, his voice shaking. We did not know, he said. We thought the stories were lies. The human commander did not shout. He did not threaten. Every child in the galaxy knows the rule, he replied. Not knowing is not an excuse. Outside the Virex system, more human ships began to wake. Not attacking. Not forming fleets. Just watching. Silent witnesses. Across the galaxy, old defense systems powered on. Not to fight humans, but to prepare for what humans might decide next. The commander turned away from the screen. Our sleep is over, he said to his crew. The question now is simple. Do we remind the galaxy gently? Or do we remind them the hard way? The human fleet waited for the answer. And so did the universe. The humans did not answer right away. They never rushed judgment. Silence spread across the stars once more. But this silence was different. It was heavy. Watching. Waiting. Across the galaxy, fleets stopped moving. Borders closed. Weapons powered down. Every race understood one truth. If the humans chose war, no one could stop it. On the Virex homeworld, fear ruled every street. Screens showed the human warship hanging in the sky. Unmoving. Unchallenged. The Virex military prepared their fleets. Not to attack. But out of habit. Out of panic. The human commander watched these movements calmly. They are afraid, one officer said. They should be, the commander replied. With a single gesture, the commander gave an order. Begin demonstration. No weapons fired. No explosions followed. Instead, space itself seemed to change. Human systems activated across multiple sectors at once. Invisible signals moved faster than light, passing through shields, armor, and fleets without resistance. Virex warships lost power instantly. Not damaged. Not destroyed. just turned off. One by one, entire fleets went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Crews alive. Weapons silent. The Galactic Council watched in horror. Because humans were not fighting, they were showing restraint. This could have been destruction, an ancient council member whispered. But they chose control. On the Virex world, the sky filled with falling ships. Landing safely. Placed gently on the surface by unseen forces. The message was clear. Humans could end them. But they did not want to. The human commander spoke again, his voice reaching every system. This is a reminder, he said. Not a punishment. We could erase fleets. We could shatter worlds. But we will not. Across the galaxy, older races lowered their flags. Some prayed. Some recorded the moment for future generations. They knew this was history. The Virex Supreme Commander fell to his knees. We surrender, he said. We accept any judgment. The human commander studied him carefully. Surrender was easy. Understanding was harder. You woke us without thinking, the commander said. You ignored the warning meant to protect you. A pause followed. Long enough to feel endless. You will live, the commander continued. But you will remember. Human ships began appearing across the galaxy. Not in attack formation. But in positions of balance. Guardians. Not conquerors. Trade routes reopened under human watch. Wars stopped mid-battle. Old grudges faded in the face of shared fear. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was quiet. Not because of peace. But because no one dared to break it. On the human ship, an officer asked. What comes next? The commander looked out at the stars. We finish what we started long ago, he said. We teach the galaxy why the rule existed. Far away, human worlds continued to wake. Cities glowing once more. Fleets stretching across forgotten systems. The universe was changing again. And this time? Humanity was fully awake. The galaxy waited. For days. For weeks. No one spoke against the humans. No fleets moved without permission. No borders were crossed without warning. Human ships remained everywhere. Silent, calm, and watching. They did not rule through fear alone. They ruled through presence. On the Virex homeworld, life slowly returned to normal. Cities were repaired. Ships were recovered. But nothing felt the same. Every child looked at the sky differently now. On the human flagship, the commanders gathered. Humanity had fully awakened. Worlds once silent now alive with light and motion. The question was no longer about revenge. It was about responsibility. We could take control of everything, one officer said. The galaxy would obey. The lead commander shook his head. That is what broke the galaxy before, he replied. Humans remembered their past mistakes. They remembered becoming the strongest. And how close they came to becoming monsters. That was why they had chosen sleep. A galaxy-wide broadcast was prepared. Not a threat. Not a command. A lesson. The message reached every system, every station, every world. The human commander spoke calmly. We are awake, he said. Not because we wanted to be, but because you needed us to be. The galaxy listened in complete silence. We slept to give you peace. We slept to give you time. You used that time to grow. A pause followed. And some of you forgot why we left. The commander's voice did not rise. But its weight was heavy. The old law still stands, he said. Do not provoke humanity. But then he added something new. This time, it is not a warning. It is a promise. Across the stars, human fleets adjusted position. Not to control, but to protect. Pirate empires collapsed overnight. Hidden war fleets powered down. Old threats vanished without a single shot fired. The galaxy changed. Not because humans demanded it, but because no one dared return to chaos. On the Virex world, the Supreme Commander stood before his people. We survived, he said, because humans chose mercy. That mercy must never be tested again. On ancient worlds, elders rewrote history records. The rule was no longer a myth. It was proof. Humanity was not evil. Humanity was not kind. Humanity was careful. On Earth and other human worlds, people looked to the stars. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They remembered why they had slept. We are guardians now, the commander said quietly. Not rulers. The final message echoed through the universe. Carved into memory, not stone. The universe once had one rule. Now it has a reason to obey it. As human ships held their silent watch, the galaxy moved forward. Wiser. Quieter. Because everyone knew the truth now. The greatest danger was never waking the humans. It was forgetting why they chose to sleep.